Hello and welcome back to another Magic the Gathering EDH deck tech idea. Today we are taking a look at a Dimir self-discard deck. Stay tuned as we talk about Oskar, Rubbish Reclaimer. But before we jump into today's video, I want to make a shout out for Mythatom. Check out their high quality Magic the Gathering and other fantasy products via the link in the notes below and use my discount code LATSEL for 10% off your order. As always, let's first talk about the deck itself. With Oskar on the battlefield, we want to enable discard mechanics to react at instant speed by casting non-land spells due to Oskar. This means that we will be playing a lot in our opponent's turns, but beforehand we need to enable our discard mechanics. This means in the early game we preferably want to fire off edicts, play a bunch of mana rocks, or enable our looting mechanics. For example, we want to play Bog Witch. This is a dark ritual on a stick, which is great for us because as its ability is a mana ability, it will immediately resolve and then we will get Oskar's trigger, which will allow us to cast the discarded card directly. We will have those 3 black mana available to cast that spell, which makes Bog Witch a great card for this deck. We also go with Ghostly Pilferer. He has no real upside when we use his discard mechanic, but he also provides a bunch of card advantage due to its other abilities. We go with Kitsar, Autoball Elite, especially in a Dimir deck that also has a bunch of control elements. Copying our instant speed or sorcery speed spells can be extremely powerful. Imagine copying one of your edict effects. We also go with Likeness Looter. This is a draw discard mechanic and its alternative activated ability allows us to turn it into a card in our graveyard. We also go with Obsessive Stitcher. Same, a looting mechanic, but we can also sacrifice it later on to reanimate a creature from our graveyard. Another really cool card in this deck is Waterfront Bouncer. I always see this card when I go through the bulk box of our TCG store, but in this deck it really shines. It allows us to take a control approach by bouncing our opponent's creatures, and along the way we will discard a card which we then cast. There are also a bunch of synergistic artifacts and enchantments in this deck. For example, Collector's Vault. I love this card in graveyard synergistic decks that also don't have green as a natural ramp color. Alternatively, we also play Key to the City, which can provide card advantage, which is a bit pricey, I gotta say that, but it still enables our game plan. To profit from all of those discards, we play Monument to Endurance, to make sure that we either draw cards, create treasures, or make our opponents lose life. Due to the fact that we discard the card and basically cast it from our graveyard, we also play Teval's Judgment. Another card that will definitely provide a huge advantage for us if it sticks around. Another great looting card is Matzalantli, the Great Door. Once we are able to transform it, it will also provide a huge mana advantage for us. Due to the fact that we are very reliant on Oskar, we also play Lightning Greaves. We don't need to target him with a lot of spells, which makes Shroud on him a perfect keyword. I personally found it really hard to find a good curve with this deck to make sure that we can close out the game by progressing our game plan, but due to the fact that we are in Dimir colors, we also want to have a huge control approach. As our win con, we will go with token generation, because there are a bunch of setups that don't require much mana, and the then saved mana we can spend on our control elements. This is why we play the following token generators. For example, Zombie Infestation. Sure, discarding 2 cards is a lot to create 1 zombie token, but with Oskar we can still cast the discarded cards. Which means in the best case we will activate this card, create a zombie token and still cast both of the discarded cards. We also play Cryptcaller Chariot. Sure, this card is great if you're discarding a bunch of cards, but even if you're only going for 1 card each turn, you will still create a bunch of zombies. Let's stick to zombie creation. We play Dying to Serve. As I've said earlier, we want to control the whole game. This means that we also have to react and cast spells in all of our opponent's turns, which makes this card great. Sure, it is limited to once each turn, but as I have just said, we want to react in each of our opponent's turns, which means that in a best case scenario we will create 4 zombies in 1 turn cycle. A card which is not limited is Desecrated Tomb. Sure, those will only be 1/1 flyers, but those will also accumulate over the course of the game and can also serve as jump blockers. Another token generator that also requires a bit of mana investment is Lazotep Chancellor, but luckily with this one we can create a huge token over the course of the game. We not only rely on token creation to overwhelm our opponents. Alternative win cons of ours are, for example, Archfiend of Ifnir. With this one we can keep our whole opponent's boards in check to clear the path for our zombie army. To create a huge advantage, we play Bone Miser. This is the creature and self-focused version of Waste Not, and especially in this deck it makes a ton of work. If you have ever played against a Waste Not or also played it yourself, you know how strong these effects are. For powerful token generation in combination with all of our looting mechanics, we play Homunculus Horde. As soon as you get a few copies of this one, it will just scale exponentially and definitely will win you the game. Another great card that we want to cast for its madness cost is Shadowgrange Archfiend. Sure, the madness cost definitely will cost you a bunch of life, but in return you will gain a bunch of life back if this one ETBs. And if you want to win even more games, play a few of the following cards. The first one might not be the most powerful and impactful one, but I would love to feature Dreamscape Artist. As we are in Dimir colors, we definitely struggle with accelerating our land base, even though we play cards like Collector's Vault or also Monument to Endurance. With this one we can ramp naturally, and in the best case scenario we can also cast the discarded card due to Oskar. Another card that provides a ton of card advantage is See the Truth. It is very conditional, but if we discard it to one of our looting mechanics and then cast it with Oskar, we will cast it from our graveyard and keep all of those cards in hand. Another great card is Winter Night Stories. Not only will we discount Oskar with this one because it is a 5 mana CMC spell, but what I love about this card is that we can discount itself if we cast it from our graveyard due to Harmonize. And in many cases we want to discard a creature card to this one, which will provide card advantage, and we can just so cast the discarded card with Oskar. Not only will we try to win with Token Beatdown, we also go with Faith of the Devoted. This enchantment will surely but steadily drain down our opponents. When it comes to a powerful discard mechanic, but also a win con that can provide card advantage, we play Psychic Frog. This card is extremely powerful, and even though we don't want to go for its activated ability to exile cards from our graveyard, it can grow to a huge creature and always provide card advantage if it connects. Another powerful card for this deck is Malcolm, Alluring Scoundrel. This card is great. You can play it with Flash, which can generate a bunch of tempo. It provides a looting mechanic, and over the course of the game, if it stays unanswered, you will be able to cast the discarded card for free. Alright guys, these were a few cards that I would play in Oskar, Rubbish Reclaimer. Let me know which cards you would add to the deck, which legendary creature I should feature next. Make sure to check out my full deck list in the notes below, and then I would say, see you in the next one. Goodbye guys.